Yeah. Yo, got a real strong message for y'all today. Listen.
Hello, greetings, bonjour, everyone. I got a special guest with us, Sol Xprsn, who is a man who is becoming more and more familiar. I've collaborated with you about 4 or 5 times, whether it be with the Firm Life Daily with Cynthia Mitchell or having you on Dissolving the Divide, having a cool interview with you in regards to your music, gearing up for the Sound Path to Freedom, which you were a featured artist in. And yeah, second conference coming up for you, brother, within a span of just 6 months or so. How you doing, bro?
Yeah. And I got not only invited for this conference, but I also got invited onto the One Great Work Network by Mr. Passio himself. Felt like a legendary moment, you know. I'm still not on the new platform since it switched off the old one. And I'll get your help with that at some point, you know. I know you got me.
Sure thing. Hell yeah.
I just, I'm just slow, but I am invited on, and I do have a lot of great content, in mind and coming soon onto that network, as well as some old but good content from my YouTube channel, which is just Sol Xprsn, as you see here.
Yeah, and you and your partner Teese have combined forces with Ufulu Child and other things, getting in the Thrive Zone, also collaborating with Cynthia, you three. It's phenomenal. I love the work y'all have been doing and stuff. You guys are quite an inspiration and stuff. And yeah, in general, I dig your presentation style. You seem to do it with ease. And you pop on Cynthia's stuff, you go over some notes, and just with a couple images, and it's like, wow, this guy's got it down, man. This is fucking tight. Like, where is he on the network? I was asking like a couple years ago when I came about you. So yeah, man, I'm so happy that you're on the network and all that, and gonna be featured in this Freedom Under Natural Law conference. And yeah, before we get into what you might be dabbling into for your presentation, yeah, let the folks know a little bit more,
Where to find me?
you're also an author. Chris
Mhm.
Jansen has your book. I saw that live at his house. Culture Control, for sure. Right on, Soul.
Yeah. So this is the book, Culture Control: Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, by yours truly, Sol Xprsn. I'm trying to get the glare. There we go. Culture Control is well, first of all, it's funny how time flies, right? Because it took more than 2 years to put the book together, and then another 6 months or so to get it proofed and edited, and um, all of that good stuff, formatted, etc. Which I did all of it myself. But time flies, because now that another maybe a year and a half or so has passed since I released the book, I've learned of one or two like mistakes in the book, as far as like the historicity and stuff, because the internet has sped up finding out new information 100-fold, 300-fold. So, but yeah, the book, I go over various topics, including natural law concepts, from the alignment with the Hermetic principles to just the math of how many people know and live by objective right and wrong versus the results that we see in the world of how wrong we treat each other. We could stand to treat each other a lot better in general as a human family. All of the division points and where they originate from, as well as some of the facts from people like Lloyd Pye and Mark Passio's cosmic abandonment presentation, where he gets into the Zachariah Sitchin theories and all of that good stuff. I put that in the book because I wanted to, give my own spin on the research. I'm not as well read as those two characters, but I definitely do my thing as far as gathering my grammar before trying to understand it and put it out in my rhetoric. But yeah, man. So I'm an author. Culture Control is the name of the book. You can find that on wherever you get your books in ebook form, and you can find it on the Lulu. That's Lulu bookstore, lulu.com bookstore for the paperback. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then I'm on Instagram as at Sol Xprsn, as well as me and my wife have a page. It's at Ufulu Child. That's UFULU child.com. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys in the virtual audience at the FUNL conference, Freedom Under Natural Law conference, because this thing is going to be very, very important in regard to bringing in not only information that's like fact based, but also information that's truth based. Right? We can explore the truth using facts, but you never get the truth from facts. You get the truth from life when you understand facts. You get the truth from consciousness when you understand facts, when your consciousness can process facts correctly. That's when you get truth. And so facts are just a piece of truth. And in exploring the facts that will come into your consciousness, when you participate and listen to the speakers and whatnot at this funnel conference, you're going to get a dose of truth that's going to be inevitable. And not just from people like me, but everybody who's going to participate in speaking.
Yeah, well said. I love your well-rounded take on things and the humbleness, and yeah, even my good friend, great friend, brother Mario West. She wrote a book, like a decade ago, and she's had to revise it like 3 times because new information comes about or revelations or things like, oh yeah, maybe it wasn't 100% accurate, possibly, or whatever. And we'd like to fine tune these things, kind of just whether it be the material that we've produced over the years or just what we have going on in our worldview and philosophy of life and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How are we applying the science of life? Which that's a great key point of just there has to be that integration and life experience, not just going over the information. How are we processing it, running through the trivium and all that stuff that we'd like to emphasize at the dear old Freedom Under Natural Law community and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, brother, well said.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, I definitely want to release a second edition and just
already
just replace the thing that's in there that's just not true and edit the thing that needs tweaking. There's 2 to 4 little spots that need my attention. Not huge, and even when it comes to history, like deep history, and this is what's likely what was happening behind the scenes kind of history, you're not going to get a primary source. They don't exist, right? A lot of the population was illiterate, depending on how far back you go. The ones that were literate likely were in the club, depending. It depends. I'm not trying to just be accusatory and black-pilled, but a lot of the elite groups that did have writers and commissioned those writers to write things, they were in the club. So it's a fun topic to explore, but history can't just be trusted exactly how it's written, especially in like textbooks and things that are officialized by the governments of the world. We can't rely on history as much as we can rely on truth. You know what I'm saying? And when we put history together in a way that we feel truth is being understood, then when we focus on the truth, we can de-emphasize some of the historical backing, because the true is true regardless and always.
Yeah, and it's not about us, bending the truth and this and that. We kind of have to bend to the truth and just get the objectiveness alignment, I suppose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I like the fact you guys cover a good amount of stuff. You yourself, you and your partner, and yeah, just going over conscious parenting,
Yep.
mindfulness, well-being, taking care of your body, going over the aspects of the mental, physical, metaphysical, spiritual aspects of one's life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Food.
And not from a new age movement perspective either.
Oh,
Not
no.
from
Keep it
think your problems away type of perspective either. But like the truth behind meditation is something I'm quite researched on. And when I say truth, I mean the exploration of various meditation practices, as well as what most lay people are seeking when they turn to meditation. Right. Another thing that I'm quite well versed on is this concept of conformity and collective illusion and mass psychosis, and like just how our culture is controlled. Big interest point of mine. You know what I'm saying? And in this funnel conference, I'm going to be talking a lot about how we can utilize things like shadow work, meditation, and spreading the gospel. Which, when I say gospel, of course, I mean the truth, not the biblical truth, but the truth. Period. Full stop. Which Mark refers to as the great work, is learning, understanding, and then spreading the truth. How we can use shadow work to really prepare ourselves internally to do the great work the right way. And I'm very excited because it'll be the first time that I bring some of the. Oh, thanks, bro. I just clicked back and saw you had my book up there.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, cop that. We're
Lulu.
running out. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, you bring up fear, and that's something that you were going to cover a little bit in your presentation. I like that approach and direction you kind of mentioned before the recording and this and that. And yeah, it's like kind of falls in line totally with how to overcome these fears, how the conference is going to be. It's trying to inspire more of that, inner fire of, self-defense, and also the passion aspects of, how are we living our lives, and are we living it to our fullest, and are we defending our rights in the process, and all these things, because, we're in some pretty draconian times, whether digitally or physically or whatever. Right. So yeah.
And, just as a little super preview, because the fear of death is the most crippling aspect of our manipulation, soup, if you will, the soup that we eat that leads to us being manipulated by the masons of society. Right, the builders of society is what I meant by that. Shout out to the good masons of the world.
Yeah.
We know some of y'all good. Anyway, the fear of death does a couple things inside the psyche, right? First of all, it reduces the concept of life to the life of the body, which is not true, right? If the concept of life was relegated only to the body, then bodies would be what is alive, instead of, a soul within individual cells, that the individual cell can die, but the soul stays alive. It wouldn't be like that. The body itself would be what's alive, and your cells would be alive from the beginning to the end, if life was reducible to the body, right? But the fear of death converts life into me inside my body. And that ultimately makes death the ultimate reality, not in real life, but to our brains. It puts death as the ultimate reality, which is just not true. It's so far from the truth, it's ridiculous. But what it does is it causes us to, fear death, obviously, hate death, fight death, and become obsessed with avoiding death, become obsessed with avoiding this thing that we fear and that we hate and that we're fighting. And when, one thing that I'll say, and I'm not going to give away the whole cookie jar, but one thing that I'll say is a population that is obsessed with avoiding death will accept slavery for protection from death. A population that understands death and prepares while living for their own death will never accept slavery as a means to protect oneself from death. And that is the crux, the main juice, meaty portion of my presentation coming up for a little preview is understanding what that fear does, and being able to walk away from my presentation in a way that you can reflect on your own behavior, see where the fear of death may be getting in the way of the truth as it's being revealed to you, and move forward accordingly.
That sounds great. And yeah, it sounds like you got some calls to action. And also you mentioned that you're going to have some questions for the audience at the end, which is fucking great because it keeps these presentations fresh. It's and that's why we love having, all different types of presenters and coming in with their approach, their style, their aesthetics, and, their, magical voice box. What are we evoking into reality? How are we trying to motivate and move minds and hearts towards natural law and things that if we're living by that, we're not going to be in such dire straits in a trajectory that seems more transhumanistic and unrealistic and stuff. And yeah, like the fear of death makes people act unrealistic or irrationally way too often and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your presentation. We only got a couple minutes left, and
so a cool other thing that I'm doing in my presentation is I'm rapping because I'm a rapper and I got bars for days.
Yes, indeed.
Me and the brother Derek have been chatting over the last couple days in regards to this preview interview. So I'll give you guys some bars for this preview interview, but I'm going to be spitting something else during the actual presentation that's going to be just as good. But check it out. And I'm from Texas, by the way, so anybody in Texas that recognizes the street names that I'm getting ready to name, shout out to you. Big shout out. Headed towards 183, I merge with the lane. Get my mental notebook out and encourage the flame. Concurrently turning burning rubber on Ferguson Lane. It occurred to me my mental world was dirty and lame. Then I turned to God and learned with him I'm worthy. And surely it came, the moment of truth, when the same circumstances had to test this new worthy version of this burdened new man. First turned conservative, like estimates on currency gained. And Instagram clips of Candace, Charlie Kirk, and the gang worked in my brain. And Thomas Sowell put a hurting on the words of my pain. It wasn't real, I was wrong, I was ashamed to admit it. But conservatives didn't get me to gain what I set out to gain, like a train off the grid, and I tracked truth beyond what was given. Whitney Webb wrote the truth about the flag on the plate, blew the whistle on their ass in a way, and Israel became a catalyst. Wait, Israel may try to drag us away to a place with real demons with no mask on their face, but I key blast them away and bask in the faith of a mustard seed, take the path and escape the slave hive mind to see the cage clearly. Free range chickens still being maimed. Dear we the people, we are equal to the rulers. In fact, they just regular people who use computers to hack your thought patterns. The plasticity in your brain is a tool they can utilize to neutralize your mental plane and its fuel. They euthanize the youth with lies. If given tools to use your mind, they'll truly pry your soul from your body and make you AI. To euphemize the cruel demise, they'll call it medicine, and the proof is lies. Till the truth is lies, and you will lie, unless we stand up to the guys that do this wild shit. But what do I know?
Fuck yeah, yo. That was great.
Little something for the people. Now, thank you so much for having me on, D. You already know it's much love to you and yours, and I'm looking forward to the conference. Again, y'all can catch me on Instagram, Sol Xprsn, or at Ufulu Child, and YouTube at Sol Xprsn.
Yes, where you are teaching quite a number of lessons, and yeah, you are like I don't like to say life coach, but you do work with people and your community in real life too. It's not just what's online and social media and all that stuff. We use those to teach on the side or more directly. I mean, but yeah, I love the fact you're all over the place and just working your magic in multiple different facets and stuff. So yeah, you're multi-talented, brother, and yeah, always looking forward to what you got coming out of the old conscious kitchen, whatever you
Right,
cook.
right. We in there cooking.
Oh yeah. Bon appetit, everyone out there. Sol, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, and talk to you later.
What remains is that little flame or spark, that fire in your heart. Take your mark and let's start.